signing. The Israeli international captain took part in a tough all-day training session with the Ibrox men today, and it's clear that provided a few snags can be overcome, Cohen will join the club. Jim White reports.
Rangers player-manager Graham Souness may have hit altitude problems which left him exhausted in Mexico, but back in Glasgow today, he took charge of the club's first pre-season training session looking the complete athlete. Souness led his Rangers men in a gruelling all-day session in the grounds of a Glasgow college. On occasion, it was literally a case of follow the leader. New £600,000 goalkeeper Chris Woods was absent, but £200,000 buy Colin West trained hard alongside Souness's former Liverpool teammate Israeli Avi Cohen. 29-year-old Cohen of Maccabi of Tel Aviv is keen to return to European football, and if certain problems can be ironed out, for one he needs a work permit, then subject to agreeing terms, Cohen and Souness could join forces again. Certainly he found today's training hard going.
Yeah, after the holiday it's always hard, particularly in the pre-season. And when you just over this training, it's all right.
So all being well, Avi, do you think you'll come and become a Rangers football player?
I hope to be a Rangers footballer. There is a few problems. We have to sort it out before I signed.
The guessing game over other possible Rangers signings continues, with names such as Richard Gough, Terry Butcher and Liverpool's Mark Lawrenson all mentioned. Souness was saying nothing on those or any other rumoured Ibrox-bound players today. Meanwhile, for most of the Rangers men today, it was a question of getting used to the new boss's strength-sapping training methods.
A profit of more than £380,000 last season, the fourth year in a row that they've had a healthy balance, and according to the club chairman, Wallace Mercer, it's an indication that the concentration of power in Scottish football now lies more and more with a small number of clubs.
Several packed houses last season when Hearts were runners-up in both League and Cup are among the factors which have accounted for their financial success. Their ability to attract supporters puts them in the top 15 clubs in the UK. And along with Aberdeen, Rangers and Celtic, they're the largest attraction in Scotland.
You took the home gates of Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen and Hearts last year. That was in excess of 50% of everyone that paid to see football in Scotland. And I think what you're finding is a concentration of supporters going to certain clubs. And I'm sure a lot of that is related to the fact that they only want to visit certain grounds. I think there's a lot of pressure on us in the Premier Division then to make sure our grounds are attractive and welcoming and have all the security and all the features and the level of entertainment for people to come and see it. There's no doubt if you're going to compete at the highest level, you've got to have good players. To have good players, you've got to have revenue and you've got to have association with big business. And that is where the gap is getting ever wider. We're even finding it now as a club that other clubs are not willing to sell to us because they don't want to strengthen our hand even further.
After a close season which saw not only the World Cup but also an active transfer market in Scotland, most of it emanating from Graham Souness and Rangers, the Hearts chairman is looking jealously westwards towards Ibrox. Mercer knows that both new manager and new players are costing Rangers and the club's backers a small fortune. But he would like the Rangers style to set a trend. The Hearts chairman wants Scottish companies who have money to spend to plough it into the national game, even if that were to lead to success for a smaller number of Scottish football clubs than at present.
And today, Rangers' new player-manager Graham Souness took over full-time at the club and confirmed his policy of bringing players of religions other than Protestant to the club. Souness introduced several new faces as he put the Rangers squad through their first pre-season training session.
Outside Ibrox Park, new player-manager Graham Souness was the centre of attraction. But later, at the training session at Jordanhill College, the focus was on three new faces. Alongside Rangers regulars like Ted McMinn and Ali McCoist was Avi Cohen, an Israeli international who formerly played with Liverpool alongside Souness.
It's very much a mutual thing. If he likes what he sees here and we love what we see, we may make some sort of offer for him.
Rangers' most expensive close-season acquisition, goalkeeper Chris Woods, was missing from the session. But Colin West, signed from Watford, was there. But it was a 15-year-old John Spencer who got most attention. He's notable in Rangers colours, not just because he's a fine footballing prospect, but also because he's a Roman Catholic. Amongst the watching fans, not all were welcoming.
Well, personally myself, I'm not along with Catholics. I'd rather have an old Protestant team. don't mind. It's changed for the better anyway. It's been gone lately. Can sign who they want, as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's the best for the team.
Next spell. It's all right to me. As long as they start winning games and start winning trophies.
So you don't mind if they have a Catholic or a Jew or anybody in the team?
No, not really.
I'm hoping to improve the quality all round, and at the end of the day, play good football, and at the end of the day, maybe win something.
How are you feeling yourself after the disappointments of the World Cup?
Oh, I've got over that. This is something completely different, and I've put that all behind me. I'm just looking forward to this job. This is my real job now.
It's have revealed plans to raise £1 million during the coming season through commercial activities. The club aim to double their usual off-the-field income by creating a quality restaurant, catering for around 240 guests at Ibrox each match day. Don Lindsay reports.
Rangers hope to break the £1 million barrier by moving into the executive market. They're offering membership of their new restaurant and executive lounge, which is still being built, to companies wanting to entertain guests on match days. The firms will pay between £60 and £85 per head for the privilege of dining in style before watching the game from a specially reserved area in the stand. A Glasgow hotel is to provide the cuisine for the restaurant. Rangers are following in the footsteps of top English clubs such as Manchester United and Aston Villa, while in Scotland, Hearts and Dundee United offer similar facilities. The club accept the need to generate money off the park to allow new manager Graham Souness to achieve success on it. Chief Executive David Holmes says it's all part of the new era at Ibrox.
We're trying to become more aware of our own high profile. In the past, I think we've lived on where we've been. I think my idea is that we're going to create our own future, and this is a whole new part of the future. The commercial side of the business has got to be made to come in line with the rest of the club.
Because commercial success surely is allied to success on the field.
Well, absolutely. If Graham and his boys get it right on the field, then the commercial aspect will take off in spite of whatever we do.
And do you think you'll reach your £1 million goal?
Yeah, well, I don't know how to lose, so I'm going to make it my business to get the £1 million.
As well as the executive lounge's use on match days, it will become a commercial centre during the week. Telephone and telex systems will link the centre to companies throughout the world, creating a conference facility capable of accommodating 200 delegates.
A warning that the best of Scotland's golfing heritage is being bought up and taken overseas.
The commercial package at Ibrox Stadium intended to turn the club into one of the most financially successful in Britain.
It's hoped the main money spinner will be just under the main stand, an executive club and restaurant, just a month away from completion. Today, at a press conference at Ibrox, Rangers officials explained why they're going into big business.
Yeah, obviously, my priority is what happens on the field, but to improve that, obviously, it needs a lot of money. Not to now I've managed to spend a few quid, and hopefully there'll be some more money in the pot for me to spend, because really, we're looking to bring the best here to Ibrox.
The idea is to make £1 million this year, double what they made last year. Companies will be able to sponsor a player for £500 a year, or buy an autographed home game match ball for half that.
We're trying to open all the commercial doors that should be open to a club this size. We feel that commercially it's probably potentially the best in Britain. If we can achieve the target of £1 million, that will be 100% more than last year. And as far as we're concerned, Graham Souness is here. He puts the right action on the park, and I think it's limitless where we're going to go.
Football and the new-look Rangers will take to the field at Ibrox for the first time tonight, with new captain Terry Butcher making his debut. Bayern Munich will be the opposition in a challenge match which will bring thousands of fans back through the turnstiles at Ibrox. Here's Jim White.
They've been queuing all week, and they were queuing again today. Tonight, the Ibrox faithful will get their first sight of Graham Souness' new-look Rangers in a sell-out glamour match against Bayern Munich. Last week's £750,000 buy Terry Butcher will captain the side, and other new signings, Colin West and Chris Woods, will also both play. In every way, it's the biggest night for Rangers in years. Some of the biggest names in football have joined the new setup at Rangers, and as a result, the fans have come back in their thousands. This was the scene at Ibrox today. Dozens of supporters queuing for the last tickets for tonight's sellout match against Bayern Munich. Player-manager Graham Souness is out to turn the tide at Ibrox, but won't be judged on early results.
Unlike a newspaper suggested this morning, I'm going to be judged on what happens at the end of the season, not what happens today.
Is that a dig at a particular newspaper?
No, I just found it funny, not a dig at all. No, not looking to be making enemies at this stage.
With hours to go to his Rangers debut, new skipper Terry Butcher looks forward to the new Ibrox era, but nervously.
I do feel nervous now. It's a big test for me. I played in 2 World Cups and skippered Ipswich in the first division, so but this is nothing really compared to going out there in front of the Rangers supporters. I mean, I've got to prove myself to them and show them what I can do, so it's a big challenge for me.
In a pair of private jets, Bayern Munich flew in today for tonight's big Ibrox party. Even the various millionaire players in this side knew of the recent dealings at Ibrox.
Yes, we read it in the newspapers. In Germany, we heard about the new team manager, Souness, he's still a player, and Terry Butcher, who comes to the team.
So from tonight onwards, Rangers fans will see for themselves if money really can buy success. As tonight's kick-off approached, did the man behind Rangers' recent dealings feel the pressure?
Well, I think the pressure's on everyone. It's one thing to make decisions, it's another thing to see them coming to fruition. So tonight will be the start, hopefully.
Butterflies?
Yeah, always. If you don't get butterflies, it's not worthwhile being in.
The other half of the old firm...
An all-ticket crowd at Ibrox Park tonight, as Glasgow Rangers put on show for the first time the £2 million of soccer talent bought in the close season. The friendly against Bayern Munich, one of Europe's top teams, is expected to attract around 40,000 spectators. The game comes with the start of the domestic season just 4 days away, and Rangers season tickets selling like hotcakes.
It's the first time a Rangers pre-season friendly has been all-ticket, and all day the queues have stretched down the Copeland Road. They're now on sale at the Brumilor Road stand. It's thought the crowd will be close to a 44,000 sellout. For Terry Butcher, the latest signing in Rangers' £2 million plus spree, it promises to be quite a debut. The Englishman will be captain, with player-manager Graham Souness also in the side. It'll also be the Ibrox faithful's first chance to gauge if goalkeeper Chris Woods, pictured here for tonight's programme, is worth the £600,000 Rangers paid for him. And the Rangers fans who turn up tonight should be under no illusions about the class of opposition their side faces. Bayern Munich won the League and Cup double in Germany last year. The side is packed full of German and Belgian World Cup stars, and they're one of the favourites to win the European Cup this season.
It's a chance for the new players to see the fans to see the new players. I hope it'll be a kind of carnival night for everyone.
You certainly haven't brought an easy side to face in this first big game, because Bayern Munich are going to be quite a challenge.
Well, if you're going to get the challenge, you're going to have to get the best. We thought about several teams to bring here, and Bahrain, with their 6 internationals and reputation, we thought it was the right one to bring and let the fans see.
A new executive dining room in the main stand opens its doors tonight to a select few. It's the latest phase in the multi-million-pound development that's made Ibrox the best footballing arena in Britain. Tonight, Rangers backers will be nearer knowing if they have a team to match their stadium.
All for you, of course, the start of the Premier League, and what a start. All the drama, all the excitement, all the sensations from Easter Road, Aberdeen against Rangers. That's a match coming up shortly. Don't miss it. 6 weeks since the World Cup final in Mexico, and only 6 weeks hence Scotland play Bulgaria at Hampden Park in the start of the European Championship campaign. And the week after that, Scotland's 5 clubs in Europe all got their respective championships underway. That's in the European Cup Winners' Cup, the European Cup and the UEFA Cup, of course. And it's something of a history-making season for Scotland as well. We've got 12 clubs now in the first of a 12-club Premier League, and that means 44 games stretching ahead. Well, our cameras were there for the kick-off yesterday at...
It's a big challenge coming up here. Obviously, I've had a few battles with the Scots in the past. Honours are about even, so I thought if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. But, you know, obviously, joking apart, I mean, I've come to one of the best club sides in the world, if not the greatest club side in the world. So, obviously, people will say, well, you know, there must have been a lot of money involved or other such big attractions, but that really came secondary. As soon as I came up here, I saw the place and saw the people and realised what a hotbed it was, really, and there was a lot of passion involved. I'm not saying there isn't a lot of passion involved in England, but I felt there was even more so in Scotland, and there was a big challenge in putting Rangers back on the map again. I think anybody that comes to Ibrox, you've just got to go out there and think, well, to play on this pitch in front of say, 44,000 people, I mean, it must be every footballer's dream. I mean, it's brilliant to go to Wembley and play in front of 100,000, but I'm sure that the Rangers fans generate more noise than what's made there. Well, I was obviously very much influenced by Graham. I've admired his play. I've tried to kick him a few times on the pitch for Liverpool and for Scotland, but I haven't succeeded, and I haven't succeeded in training yet. But no, his attitude is, what can I say, his will to win. He wants success, you know, and obviously so do Rangers. So I thought the two go hand in hand.
The reason, as they said, is very obvious. Rangers are a big club and determined to become even bigger. Their stadium is Britain's most modern. New facilities have been grafted onto great traditions. This executive suite with famous faces, old and new, looking down on the pre-match diners. If Rangers are successful, the 45,000 capacity at Ibrox won't be big enough. Season ticket sales have soared. And even the fans have accepted that you can be good for Rangers even if you do speak with an English accent. What do you think of Terry Butcher, an Englishman?
Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Magic.
It's I went some years ago.
What about Chris Woods?
He should be England #1.
Brilliant. You know, Greavsie, it ain't half changed days, because a lot of that lot used to think the only good thing that ever came out of England was a night sleeper from Euston. Caramel chewers, they used to call them. But Dundee United won't just be standing back and saying, after you clawed this afternoon, it's great. It's the very stuff of box office.
There were 5 of them in the match we covered with our cameras yesterday, the remarkable game at Ibrox between Rangers and Dundee United, where Graham Souness was back in the Ibrox side after missing out against Falkirk because of suspension, and where United fans were wondering if this was going to be Richard Goff's last match. And Kenny Dalglish was back at Wembley for our other big game, this time destined to be a second-half sub.
Want to look back on the Commonwealth Games with any pride or satisfaction?
Ibrox Stadium for the game, which features 2 of the 3 clubs who will next month be representing Scotland in the UEFA Cup, Rangers and Dundee United. The attendance there finished to an extraordinary game, and when the excitement had died down, Jock Brown spoke to one of Dundee United's top players on the day, Richard Goff.
Richard Goff, victory from the jaws of defeat.
That's right. Once we went 2-0 down, I didn't think there was much chance for us, especially at a place like Ibrox, but fought well in the second half, managed to get 3 goals, and tremendous result for us.
There's lots of speculation, obviously, Richard, about whether that might be your last game for Dundee United. What can you tell us about
that? Well, I'll just take it day by day. I don't know anything about it, so if it happens, it happens. And Jim McLean will obviously tell me if something's going to happen.
Perhaps a bit ironic, there's a full house here at Ibrox, and you may well have been here if things had gone differently at the end of last season.
That's right. I mean, I said it before, I would have liked to have played here, but obviously the manager had other ideas. But the crowd here is actually tremendous. You see it today, 44,000. And like I say, we were actually a wee bit lucky today getting the result.
Do you feel under strain playing in the situation where really any game might be your last game if a transfer comes up for you?
Not really, no. I'm a professional player. I'll just go out and do my best every game.
Now, today, of course, things were very much backs against the wall for a long time. What do you think affected things to get you back in the game?
Once we went 2-0 down at half-time, the manager just said, go out and play with a wee bit more relaxed than we were playing in the first half, and I think that helped us a lot.
12 games are
The football club, Mr. Graham Souness, has been banned for 3 matches after being sent off in the opening game of the season. And in a new get-tough policy by Scottish football chiefs, his club has been fined £5,000.
It was the curtain raiser to the new season in Scotland, but in the words of the president of the Scottish Football Association, the Hibs-Rangers match involved one of the most serious incidents seen in Scottish football in years. In an ugly centre circle melee, Rangers player-manager Graham Souness was sent off, and altogether 8 players were booked. Today, Souness trained with his players before travelling across Glasgow to hear his fate. The SFA Disciplinary Committee decided to fine Rangers £5,000, Hibs £1,000, to ban Souness for 3 matches, and to add 2 disciplinary points to the records of all 21 players who took part in the disturbance, the only man escaping that punishment being Hibs goalkeeper Alan Ruff.
Graham, what's your reaction to the committee's hearing? At this point, Jim, I've got nothing to say.
Rangers Football Club and Mr Souness have accepted full responsibility for their part in the misbehaviour and have apologised unreservedly to the association.
Souness will now miss the match he clearly had been eagerly awaiting, his first Rangers-Celtic game next weekend. Jim White for News at 10, Glasgow.
Football clubs were today fined a total of £6,000 for the angry scenes during their opening season match at Easter Road 10 days ago. Rangers player-manager Graeme Souness was sent off during the match and another 8 players were booked. Today he was banned for 3 matches starting on Thursday. The SFA's disciplinary committee also punished the 21 players who took part in the mayhem. They've all had 2 penalty points added to their current disciplinary records. Rangers will pay a £5,000 fine and Hibs £1,000. Hibs chairman Kenny Walsh said the club will be appealing against the SFA decision, but Rangers have accepted today's findings.
Greenock midfielder Jimmy Simpson, whose career has been ended by injury. Morton manager Alan McGraw today thanked the Ibrox club for their prompt assistance. The testimonial will be played after Rangers know their European commitments. In addition, all the Morton players have entered for next Sunday's Inverclyde Quarter Marathon and are now looking for sponsors, with the proceeds going to Simpson.
Fancy Everton might just do the title this year. So that is my selection.
You're going for Everton,
yes.
are you?
Who are you going for?
Well, I am going for Liverpool. I'm going for Liverpool for the League Championship, the Littlewoods Cup, the FA Cup, the boat race, the Eurovision Song Contest, and winners of the jackpot. That's it. I'm going for the lot.
I get the feeling you're quite strong about that.
I am quite strong.
Right, well, OK, so let's have a look at our selections here. As we say, you know, I've gone for Everton, you've gone for Liverpool. Division 2, James.
We've both gone for Palace.
Yes.
Is there an honour in the air, I wonder? Sunderland, I think they'll have well, they can't have a worse season, can they? Brighton and Ipswich, you've gone for Saint. Nice one. West Brom, Ron Saunders might make them work a bit.
OK, Division 3. Let's have a look at old Div 3, Jim, and see how we're doing there. I've gone for Bristol City after seeing them do so well.
The Freight Rover, where we guest of honour.
And I had them last year as well.
Notts County have gone back to their old strip, the old zebra strip, so they'll be getting the crosses across this season.
Div 4, you've gone for the O's.
Oh, well, the O's. I mean, everybody in London supports the O's, don't they? They don't go there, but they support them, you know.
Yes, and I've gone for Hereford. Well, what about up in Scotland?
Well, Celtic, they're the form team, aren't they?
Yeah.
And so you're not a bad judge there. Yeah, Dundee United, well, I'll stick with them. They gave me a good run last year.
They did do, James, yes.
Yeah, they did.
OK, let's have a look at Scottish Div 1. Dunfermline I've gone for, got promoted last year, and you've gone for Morton.
Greenock Morton, it sounds like Rob Roy's jockstrap, doesn't it? But I thought, well, they were worth a shot.
Why Ayr United in the...
Ayr United, well, that's Ali's army, isn't it? They've got him as far to the coast as they possibly can without getting him into the sea. Yeah. So I'll go for them.
OK, and I've gone for Raith
Rovers.
Parliament's
because of your pal.
Yeah, not pal.
Bad luck, your pal.
Now, we're going to have, instead of the £10 bet, Jim, a £100 bet.
That's all right, 100 quid.
To charity, the winner's choice of a charity.
I'm ready to pawn the...
You're happy with that?
Yeah, I'll pawn the medals, yeah.
OK. Well, those are our selections, but what do the bookies make of them? Well, who better to tell us? 3-1 on I am, my selection.
3-1 on you? Well, I figure that's fair.
Eh?
I mean, you have won it 3 times out of 3.
But I can't do it again, surely. I mean, I think you're a good bet, 5-2. I think, you know, any puncher watching, that's a fair shout.
Well, if you have 20 on me and I win, we've paid for the charity bet, haven't we, at 5-2.
Right. OK, well, the season, as you know, is well underway in Scotland, and Rangers, their big money buys from England, are still finding out that life isn't easy.
There's outswinger. There's McCoist. 26 minutes gone, Rangers go ahead, and Ibrox comes alive. Souness through the middle is McCoist, he's onside, a great chance for Rangers. Brilliantly taken. Eamon Bannon. Gallagher picks it up. And that's one back for Dundee United. Confusion in the Rangers defence, and Kevin Gallagher brings back the deficit to 1. So the crowd inside Ibrox very quiet suddenly. They enjoyed much of the match earlier on, but there's Redford now. Gallagher! Equaliser for Dundee United. Here try for Kevin Gallagher. And the done.
Shot from Sturrock to Bannon. Bannon flights it in. A touch from Redford. And Ian Redford on his return to Ibrox has snatched what surely must be the winner for Dundee United.
Yeah, Greavsie, you've thrown away a 2-goal lead, the Rangers there. Mistakes in defence.
I tell you what, every team that's playing them is really hyped up, aren't they, Saint? You can tell that. I think Graham introducing the English lads, himself going back there, they're all saying, well, we've got to show them what it's all about. It's very hard for Rangers. But what's interesting about the Scottish League, I've found this season, it looks wide open.
It is wide open.
Absolutely. You could sort of name, I don't know, 5 teams.
The great things, Jim, big gates as well, and big game today, Celtic Aberdeen, so that's another cracker. Everything going well up there in Jockland. Well, that's just...
Who would have thought the English game would find the traditional transfer roles reversed, with Scotland, and in particular a man called Souness, luring some of the best players north of the border. Archie McPherson looks at the change.
At this point, I've got nothing to say, thank you.
Long before the happenings of last week, Graham Souness and the rest of the country realised he'd taken on one of the most difficult jobs in Europe. The supporters are now flocking back in legions seem tolerant enough to realise that large sums of money dished out don't make you immune from mistakes. But Souness is determined to give this club backbone, like renewing that Sunderland partnership of Ali McCoist and Colin West.
Colin West! Nicely worked set piece.
And boldly he convinced a £600,000 goalkeeper that a Scottish fiver is as good as an English one any day.
Chris Woods from David Moss.
And the greatest catch of all, £750,000 worth of a man with expandable legs.
Oh, what an important put in by Terry Butcher.
But if you're going to make big decisions, you can't do it without the wife. Rita Butcher didn't know all that much about Scotland, but as it was, she didn't put in a late tackle.
Yes, well, it's hard to say.
She's not allowed to talk.
Yes, no, that's right. Well, I came back from the game in America, and met Graham and came up here, and he did well really by bringing me up here and showing me the place. And then I rang Rita up and I said, come up the next day because you must see it. I mean, I was completely taken in by the place doing that one day.
Not just the stadium, I mean...
No, the actual place and the people. And I couldn't believe it really, because down south you do get a false impression of Scotland.
Are you going to be the English ambassador for Scotland now, in a sense, and tell all these people down here what the place is really like?
Yes, I'd like to. I mean, it is a fantastic place. I mean, I've shown both sets of family around the stadium now, and they just can't believe it. It's such a change from Ipswich, but don't get me wrong, Ipswich was a great place for me.
Well, clearly you're not playing for nothing, so is money obviously a vital factor in all of this?
Yeah, yes, it was. Obviously, I didn't want to come up here for the wrong sort of money. I mean, it was a big move, the biggest move of my career, and so I had to be, it had to be worth my while. I mean, I don't want to say much more than that. I mean, people down south will say that I've made it for the money, but the money was secondary.
And this was the day Chris Woods was fulfilling a coaching commitment with 50 boys all the way from Nottingham to Ibrox for one of his goalkeeping sessions. But his eye remains on the international scene.
I'm hoping that Rangers are going to take off and we're going to do well, not only in the league but the cups, but we're going to do well in Europe as well. And if I can do well personally, I mean, obviously if I don't do well personally, then I can't expect to stay in the England squad. But as long as I can keep proving that I'm capable of producing the form that's got me into England and the England squad in the first place, then I'm hoping that that's where I'll stay.
When you look at Rangers' league record over that period, you can well understand that it wasn't a facelift they needed, but a major transplant. They've engaged in exactly that. And although it's breathtaking by any standards, if they can get the likes of Ali McCoist scoring regularly, then putting their money where their mouth is will feed them for a long time, given that English stars can adapt to Scottish football.
I found it very hard. I was as exhausted after each game I played as I was at England, so I think, you know, obviously if you put as much into it as I do anyway, I will be exhausted. But
is it different competitively then? Is it a different attitude you find?
Yes, I think, with all due respect, with the Scots people, they are aggressive people anyway. They do get stuck in. They want confrontations, if I may say that, and I don't mind that at all. That's my game. But in the games I have played, there is a lot of robustness. And
obviously one of the biggest factors influencing you was Graham Souness himself.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I was very impressed by his attitude and his character. I've known he's a very hard player on the pitch. I've tried to kick him a few times. No, I was very impressed, and obviously up here within the setup, he knows what he wants and he wants to get it.
More silver, less dust. That's what Rangers have opted for. As a result, life up here this season is hardly going to be dull.
Having played at Wembley, I mean, you get the 2 sets of fans there, and they make an enormous noise. But to come out here and like there was, we played Bayern Munich, I think, and there was, I don't know, 36,000. And then played Dundee, Dundee United, I think it was, and there was sort of 44,000. And the noise is absolutely deafening, and the fans are just, you know, they're brilliant.
Now, Andy, I know the first thing you want to knock down is that the Scots are an aggressive sort of people and that you've never played and wanted confrontation.
I think if Terry's looking for confrontation, he's going to get plenty of them in Scotland. I think any Englishman get up there and playing is going to get plenty stick dished out, honestly.
Have you been as surprised as everybody else about the fact that Terry Butcher and Chris Woods and Colin West and Jimmy Nicholl are up there?
I was more surprised Terry went than any of them. I thought the other lads might have been tempted up, but I thought that Terry's ambitions might have just lay south of the border.
But you don't think it will have an adverse effect on their career?
No, I think it'll probably make them better players, actually, because, as I say, they're going to have all these Scots lads running about showing them what football's all about, or trying to show them what football's all about, that it possibly could even make them even better players, Bob.
Graham Souness has created so much interest by doing it. I think, you know, it's going to start with the start eventually of what I think will be a British league, I hope, personally. But, of course, he's undone a bit of that with his 3-match ban, hasn't he?
Yes, he did, but I think Graham will quietly accept his punishment. I think he'll know he's done wrong, and as a manager this early, I think he's entitled to one mistake. That's his mistake. I don't think you'll get another one from Graham.
And, of course, they've got European competition as well.
Exactly.
Well, the biggest transfer in England, you'll have missed a few. So let's have a little Did You Know session. Did you know, for instance, that as the First Division is reduced to 20 clubs over the next 2 years and the Second Division increased to 24, there's a system of playoffs, 18 extra matches to be introduced. Now, Andy, what about that?
Well, I agree with the reduction in the league, but I'm not so sure if playoffs is the way to achieve it, Bob.
Did you know, for instance, that re-election is now scrapped? The bottom club in Division 4 drops into what is now the GM Vauxhall Conference, formerly the Gola League, and the champions of that competition now join the Football League. What about that one, Andy?
Great incentive for all the smaller clubs, and this is a change that I thoroughly agree with, this one.
The only thing I'd pick up, that Enfield were champions last year, so they've got to look closely at all the facilities.
They've got to look at facilities, obviously.
Now, did you know also that 2 more league clubs have artificial surfaces?
Well, plain and simple, I don't like them at all, Bob. I think artificial, synthetic, whatever you like to call it, I think the game in this country is meant to be played on grass. And I'm a great advocate of that.
Oldham and Preston North End being the ones that have added their pitches to Luton and Queen's Park Rangers. Did you know that in the FA Cup and the Littlewoods Challenge Cup, that was formerly the Milk Cup, 2 substitutes are now going to be allowed, but not in the league? Now, I can't agree with that.
I'm happy with the change in the subs, but I agree with you. I think we should have extended it to the league game as well.
And here's the best of the lot for you. Did you know that referees are likely to become anonymous? Clubs have been asked to omit from match programmes personal background details of the men in black and their linesmen. No hometown or biographical information, whatever. Now, what about that one?
Well, I can't agree. I think at a time when we're trying to get players and referees and everyone closer together, this just serves to alienate referees and linesmen even more, Bob.
And one final Did You Know for you. Luton Town are the first club to ban all visiting supporters from their ground. Part of Luton's thinking is to save money on police costs.
This is the saddest of them all. I think it shows that once again the minority have won a battle over the majority of honest, well-behaved football supporters, and this is probably, as we say, the saddest of them all.
Well, there you are, some of Andy's views and...
against Bulgaria. Now,
sorry.
Have you spoken to Andy Roxburgh at all?
Well, I've written to him, and I've had a reply back, and I wished him the best of luck, and I said, look, if there's anything that I can tell you, or you want to know, or have a little chat, please do so. And we will get together.
Well, in his squads, he's picked a couple of strikers from Scotland, Celtic and Rangers boys. You know, he's picked Alan McCoist from Rangers and Mo Johnson from Celtic. Now, I know a little bit about both of the players, and I think it's, you know, something that Scotland have been needing over the last sort of season. We've not been scoring goals, and McCoist and Mo Johnson actually doing it. I watched McCoist at the start of the season. I went up to one of the games against Falkirk. This is him against Dundee United, and he shows a a bit of coolness here, doesn't he? You know, bought the goalkeeper, he said, I'm going to stick it away.
Yeah, he was on his own so much he could have been frozen to death, let alone being cold.
Yeah, but I mean, he'd got the pace in that, Jim, and the awareness to go through there.
Yeah.
Well,
left alone a bit.
He did what all good goal scorers do. He kept calm and he's got a composure in front of goal and he's just waiting for the right thing to happen.
And I think Mo Johnson's like that. I think Mo's got an awareness around goals, you know, and I think he's scoring goals for Celtic, and in fact he's a top goal scorer for Celtic in the international scene. This was a game last season against the Rangers, and this was a cracking game, the 4-4 one. But little Mo, this type of goal, I mean, that, Jimmy, is, again, you know, a goal scorer's goal, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bread and butter stuff, as they say.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Now, Wales
of this season. Dundee United are setting the pace in the Championship, 9 points out of 10. They're 2 points ahead of Aberdeen, Celtic and Hearts. Champions Celtic have had quite a week. Last Sunday they were at Ibrox for their first meeting this season with Rangers.
Cooper. Here's Durant with a chance, and he's done it!
So Graham Souness's Rangers drawing first blood this campaign in the old firm clash, but Celtic's week improved in what turned out to be a nail-biting Skull Cup tie.
To our commentator, Jock Brown. Well, now for our Cup tie programme, which features two tremendous matches today. The Premier League game at Ibrox between Rangers and Aberdeen, and this afternoon's is undoubtedly twinkling Ted McMinn, who so far has had a season to remember. And it was welcome back to a familiar face and an unfamiliar jersey, ex-Dundee United striker Davy Dodds. And if your favourite football diet is skill, non-stop effort and goal-mouth thrills with a dash of controversy, Stadium, another astonishing attendance, Britain's biggest of the day by far at 40,000, to see two of the main Premier League contenders giving absolutely everything from first whistle to last. A game of absorbing skills, total commitment and a sprinkling of controversy. And as you'll see after our edited story, Graham Souness and Alec Ferguson side by side, looking back on one of the most entertaining games of the season so far. Jock Brown begins our story of the play at the kick-off. Rangers against Aberdeen.
Alec and Graham, the very best of pals. Well, Brian Wright is a young...
Wednesday night, and here are some goals from 11 days ago to wish them all the very best. Bye-bye.
Encourage you to go to the game, and we're offering prizes for centre stand tickets, and we have 12 on offer, plus being guests of the sponsor for lunch before the game. I can't think of a better prize for a Sunday and the Skull Cup final. And we're going to be showing you, by the way, there will be 12 tickets, but 2 sets of 6, so that if you win, you can take a partner along. So the 6 winners will get a couple of tickets each. We're now going to show you 7 goals, and we want you to pick out the best 3, what you consider to be the best 3, and we'll make the judgment of that later. So here we go, 7 goals. Sit back and assess them for yourselves.
Cooper. Here's Durant with a chance, and he's done it! A brilliant goal by Durant. No room for any blushing violence in midfield tonight. Brilliantly taken down by Miller. Well, that's an inviting ball, it must be, yes! Corner coming in on the far side from this brilliant piece of play. Milne, good move by United, and there's a goal. Ian Ferguson. And that's why Jim McLean brought him to Tannadice. White is still in play, although that was very slow by the fullback again, Wishart. He really has to part with the ball quicker. He had players on the left of him, and now Mo Johnson. There's a brilliant ball. Aiken goes in. Can he make it? He's done it. A brilliant goal. No wonder Johnson wants to embrace him. Now Gagan. Looks towards that far side. There's a touch. It's a goal. It's the equaliser. Would you believe it? Paul Smith with only 2 minutes remaining. The run forward by Scurrock. It's Scurrock for United. The goalkeeper is out. Here is Ralph Wilman. A chance. He's done it. Yes. 1-0 for United. Coist to Durant to Cooper.
7 are Scotland, and Archie McPherson will be joining us shortly with his views of their first performance under Andy Roxburgh against Bulgaria at Hampden Park.
Well, you know, I think the boys must have had difficulty putting 2 minutes out of that game. That was, without doubt, one of the poorest internationals I've ever experienced at Hampden Park. Now, OK, I know watching the Bulgarians is the equivalent of taking a couple of Mogadons, but you cannot dodge the issue that the Scotland performance was pretty miserable. Now, not surprisingly, some people have put Andy Roxburgh's head straight on the chopping block. Now, I'm not here this morning to defend Andy. He can do that himself by getting performances out of his players in the next few internationals. But, again, let's not duck the issue. There are some people up here, you know, who don't want him to succeed in the first place. So let's get it into perspective. The players that he had on Wednesday night were virtually the same players who let Scotland down against Uruguay in the last World Cup international. So instead of going for the manager's jugular, perhaps we should be asking ourselves much more shrewdly, which of these players who perform well at club level can't do it at international level? And I'm afraid the answer is a good few. And the old problem still remains. Scotland can't score goals. 2 out of the last 6 internationals. If anybody out there has any solution to it all, please put it on a postcard and address it directly to Jim will fix it.
Thank you, Archie. More from...
Still missing from Europe because of the ban, but 1 or 2 Sassenachs made their presence felt in the Scots Challenge, including Terry Butcher for Rangers.
Davy Cooper then with the corner for Rangers. Deep towards Terry Butcher, got the header in! And it's there by Fleck. Cooper again with the corner, Durant lurking at the back. Cooper again. And again the keeper saves it. Durant trying to make something of it. And it's in there! Fleck has done it again. It's Cooper. Oh, it looked as though there was no way through there, but he found a way through magnificently. Cooper played it in for Fleck. It's his hat-trick. 3-0 for Rangers. Nicol. McMahon. In there with unorthodox tactics, and it didn't work as Fraser now plays it in early, and it's another goal, this time by McCoist. 4-0.
Well, isn't that terrific, wasn't it?
Did you actually see somebody dribbling the ball a la Tom Finney, Stanley Matthews, Georgie Best style?
Old Scottish trait, Jim, that, and it was lovely to see.
Marvellous.
Now, as you know, David Cooper doing all the dribbling there doesn't normally give interviews. I don't know if you know that. But after the game, Brian Moore, who was doing the commentary, caught up with him and Ted McMillan.
Fox caught up with him.
Was that as good a performance, do you think, individually, as you've had for quite a little while? I mean, the crowd absolutely rose to you.
Yeah, well, the crowd lift players like Ted and I in these situations, you know. Got the first goal and it settled us, and then obviously they were weakened a wee bit with the 10 men, but we started to stick it about, and sometimes it's hard even to get goals against 10 men, but we've got them tonight, so that's the main thing.
But what about this fellow alongside you? I mean, he's such an amazing... the crowd...
Well, that's a good thing now, but we can get them in both flanks, and he's doing some tremendous runs, you know. They just don't know how to take them at all.
What about that?
Well, it's something different. That's about it. Davey does all the nice, wee, neat skills, and then when it comes to me, well, just run with the ball and just when it ends up, it ends up. Sometimes in the Colton Road, sometimes it's in the net.
And one moment when you completely missed it altogether out there tonight.
That was a rehearse that this morning. But my legs still up in the Colton Road. But it's just something different.
Greavsie gets very disparaging about Scottish teams and Scottish goalkeepers and so on. I mean, I'm sure you'd like to respond to that.
Oh, well, we enjoy watching St and Greavsie on a Saturday. You know, it's probably the best comedy show of the week. It's good, you know.
I'm quite impressed with his shots. I think his shots are unbelievable. So if he's got any old ones, he can send them up.
His shirts?
Oh, they're unbelievable. Pyjama tops and everything. So if he's got any old shots, he can pass them up.
Ted, this is on your way. This is on your way, son. The only problem you've got is it is green.
Yeah. Will he be strong enough to wear it?
Will he have the bottle to wear it? Can you see Graham Souness' face when he walks in with this on? It's on its way, Ted, I promise you that.
Now, what about all the Sassenachs, as I said? Terry Butcher, did you see the picture in the paper the other day?
Well, I'd like to know what tartan that is, because, as you know, us Hamilton clan don't take too kindly to other clans. So I don't know whether we'll be on speaking terms or not after that one.
Well, you can speak to next time you go up to Scotland.
Yeah, I will.
Right, well, another English...
Ahead of Hearts, but the man I'd like you to talk about, Emlyn, is the fellow who manages the club in 4th place, Graham Souness, who you know very well.
Yeah, Graham's gone up to Scotland and he's took the bull by the horns and he said, right, Rangers, I'm coming, I'm here, I'm going to do it my way. Now, the comparison is going to be made between Graham and Kenny, but the difference is that Kenny took over a stable ship that was there, that was guaranteed success, because simply and utterly they are the best side in England. They win the league championship, I think it's 9 out the last 11 years or 9 out the last 12.
Whereas Rangers have had that awful time and are desperate for success.
Had an awful time, and Graham's gone up there and he said, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. You've appointed me, you've given me a 3 or a 4 year contract. I'm here, I'm going to do it, and best of luck to him, because he's a cracking lad.
And come down to England and take players.
Taking our players, what they're doing, we take them from Scotland.
Right, well, now, it's exactly, I think, 12 weeks since Emlyn and I were together for a month during the World Cup. But there was a
division. Hearts beat Motherwell 4-1, Aberdeen won at Clydebank, and Rangers lost 1-0 at Dundee.
All right. To Scotland, and a big week for Graham Souness and the new Rangers. On Wednesday night, they took on Dundee United in the Skull Cup semi-final at Hampden, and Ted McMinn answered the call.
Well, a buzz of anticipation as Davy Cooper takes possession for Rangers. McMinn testing the pace of Beaumont. McCoist! Now Cooper. One roll forward looking for McMinn. He's away from Hegarty. Simply struck by Ted McMinn. Rangers 2 ahead after being under the collar for the 12 minutes of the second half. Butcher hitting the ball wide, but there's Sturrock. And Ian Ferguson throws the lifeline to Dundee United.
Well, well, Big Ted, our hero. Well done, Ted, me son.
No, it was a big night for Ted, you know, because he was nominated the man of the match.
Was he?
I don't know if you knew that, yeah. But also, when Ian Archer was talking to him after the match, he gave him a very special present, Jim, after he had got the man of the match award.
Don't go away, because I've got a special present for you.
Why is that holding
from Jimmy Greaves.
What'll be the colour, by the way?
You'll have to wear it.
Oh, well, aye. To training.
Well done, Ted.
Oh, thanks very much. Game in the final.
Nice one, Ted, and if you wear it, I can assure you it'll be the first shirt of mine that's ever been covered in sweat.
Yeah, but ways to train it, right. Well, staying with the green for a minute.
As I said to you earlier, it's a sore point with you. You're going to be at the Skull Cup final in October 26th, and you're going to be with us working, Jim. You're looking forward to that?
Very much so, and I think you've got to be 100% honest. I think that in the final at the moment, I'll probably get lynched for saying this, but for 15 years you can't change. And I think that the two best sides in Scotland at the moment are playing in the final. I think that we probably have played some exceptional football at times, but I couldn't say that at the moment Aberdeen or myself are entirely happy with the way we're playing, and I think at the moment the two best sides are playing in the final.
Well, you're helping me, so brush up the adjectives.
Thank you.
Jim McLean, admirably honest as always, and it's good to see United in that.
For the third time this month, Scottish football boasted Britain's biggest weekend attendance, with over 40,000 fans watching Saturday's Rangers-Aberdeen clash. But yet again, a refereeing decision saw the match end on an explosive and highly controversial note.
Souness back to Butcher. There's McMinn. Still Ted McMinn. There's Souness. It's over the line. The goal's been given. A superb goal from Graham Souness. Cooper's missed kick, but McCoist has it for Rangers. He has Blackley's right. Black is onside, the chance to clinch it for Rangers. McCoist makes it 2, and Aberdeen are incensed that there was no offside flag. 10 minutes from time, Aberdeen players surrounding the linesman. Archie Knox is out on the touchline as well. Archie Knox being escorted back to the dugout. Referee Jim Duncan coming across. Some action here.
Well, offside or not, and love them or hate them, the refs are here to stay. But many claim that directives from the governing bodies of the sport are putting our match officials under too much pressure, and indeed forcing them to interpret the rules in too rigid a manner. Jimmy Sanderson, which side of the fence are you sitting on tonight? Do we put too much pressure on the refs, or is there too much pressure on the players to win?
No, that's really rubbish coming from people who don't know anything about it. The referees are under no more pressure than their predecessors were 20 years ago, people like Tiny Wharton and Jack Mowat. May I just say the referees are the most maligned and poorly paid people in sport. We're lucky to have them.
Now, we'll get onto that in a minute, but it's nothing new, as you've just said. It's been going on 20, either 40 years you've been in football, but it's happening more and more often. We've had Davy Hay, John Blackley, now Archie Knox, all disputing referees' decisions this year. And condone it or not, rules are rules. You're not going to change a linesman or a referee's decision once it's made.
No, absolutely correctly, nor should that be done. But the linesman has a whistle and a book and a pen. He's got no electronic devices. In America, he has. Someone can sit up in a control room and say, that was offside, that wasn't the goal. He's got nothing at all except his own honesty. And we have the most honest referees in the world. I've been places such as Peru where there's nothing but crooks, and I use that word advisedly. We've got honest men trying to do an honest job. Most difficult job. They've also got bully boys, despot managers to deal with, prima donnas, and chairmen who don't speak up.
So you're saying you've got honest referees and dishonest managers, dishonest players?
I think they're dishonest in that players want to go out with a whistle under their jersey to try and take control of the game. And I think chairmen should be standing up and saying to the referees, we know there are 17 laws in the game. We will not permit our players to argue about it because there can be no change. Diego Maradona put the ball in with his hand, but the 17 laws of the game stand up.
What do you reckon the people in the terracing think of the referees we've got in Scotland? You've just said they're maybe amongst the best in the world.
Well, I don't think many of the people on the terracing even know there were 17 laws in the game, and they don't understand that for £36 of a Saturday afternoon the man's going through absolute purgatory, and I think they do a very good job. There will always be arguments. You can have two referees, one in each half of the field. You can have, I say, electronic devices. But I say, in the present circumstances, it's the discipline of the players that matters.
£36 for guaranteed verbal abuse every week. On to a different subject now. You put yourself on the spot all the time. You're an ex-boxer. I think a lot of people might not know that. You're also judged a world title weight competition back in '66, I think. But you got it all wrong. Maybe you got it wrong with McCoist on Saturday. You said he was onside. You got it wrong with the world title weight fight, saying Curry was going to win and Hunnigan had no chance. What do you say for yourself this time?
Well, I'm the only ex-amateur not with a cauliflower with a cauliflower head because I lost 7 in a row. I did judge a world title fight and lucky to get out with my life from Bangkok. Gave the wrong decision apparently. But Hunnigan did very well indeed, and I'm very pleased that an ex-friend of mine, an ex-champion friend of mine, Bobby Neal, was in his corner. Bobby Neal from Edinburgh.
That's right. We can't always be right, can we, Jimmy? Thanks very much.
Try.
Second leg, Dukla Prague 1, Hearts 0. Aggregate score 3-all, but Dukla go through on the away goals rule. Galway United 1, Groningen 3. Aggregate score 8-2 to Groningen. Stahl Brandenburg 1, Coleraine 0. Aggregate score 2-1 to Brandenburg. And finally, Tampere 2, Rangers 0. Aggregate score 4-2 to Rangers. Well, I saw that first leg UEFA Cup tie a fortnight ago between Rangers and Ilves Tampere of Finland, and frankly, I wouldn't have thought tonight's result possible. How did it happen? Jerry McNee reports.
Rangers' name will go into the silver champagne bucket in Zurich for the second round of the UEFA Cup, but there was very little glitter about this performance. The Ibrox men should be embarrassed by the scoreline against a bunch of part-timers. It was a lacklustre display, and the inability to take first-half chances put them in trouble in the second half. A soft penalty award saw international striker Ali Helm score a goal number 1 in the 54th minute after he was judged to have been pushed by David McPherson. And with Rangers still dithering, Ilves Tampere made it 2-0 with a fine diving header from skipper Arto Jumanen after 73 minutes. Graham Souness sat this one out, but must have wished he could get into the action, especially in the second half. On a brighter note, Colin Miller, signed from Toronto Blizzard last year, made his European debut. He's 22 on Saturday and has plenty to look forward to. The final scoreline, Ilves Tampere 2, Rangers 0.
And that really is an extremely disappointing result, to say the least, for Rangers. John, what about that? I just wouldn't have thought that could have happened.
Well, strange things happen in Europe, Dougie, and tonight Rangers had 3 changes from the team that's been playing regularly the last few weeks. I believe there was only 2,000 at that game, so a complete lack of atmosphere. And it's a little bit difficult winning 4-0 and going into the second game with only 2,000 people and expecting to win. But the one important point about tonight's match, I would think, from Rangers' point of view, is do they have a strong enough pool of players to go through this long season with 44 league matches? They've been doing well recently, playing very well, a settled side, but tonight they lost 3 players through injury, and they lost to a team who many people expect them to beat. But the most important thing from the Rangers' point of view is that they're through to the next round.
That's true, they are at least through and into the draw. Let me turn to
Rugby. Here's Don Lindsay.
The draw was made today for the second round of the European football competitions, and Scotland's 3 remaining representatives have all got tough ties. In the European Cup, Celtic played Dynamo Kiev, who knocked them out of the same tournament the year after they became the first British team to win the Champions Cup. In the UEFA Cup, Rangers meet Boavista, the team Celtic disposed of in the Cup Winners' Cup some years ago. And Dundee United face a trip behind the Iron Curtain to Romania, where Universitatea Craiova provide the opposition. More on those games in a moment, but first, more mundane but equally important domestic matters. There's little doubt about the game of the day in Scotland tomorrow. It's at Tynecastle, where Hearts, 3rd and 4th placed Rangers meet. It'll be a particularly exciting afternoon for a certain young English gentleman with a knack of finding the net on the big
No inclination whatsoever that I'll be playing against Terry Butcher, but obviously I'll be looking forward to it and I'll be doing my best for Hearts tomorrow, you know.
How highly do you rate Butcher?
Well, obviously he's a very good player. I mean, I've never played against him before, but I've seen him on telly, and you know, his international record speaks for itself. Obviously, he hasn't, well, he's not probably done as well as he would like here, I don't think. He said that himself, like, but obviously I hope he has one of his off days tomorrow, and I have a good day against him.
How have you found Scottish football, the transition from England?
Well, when I first
season, Hearts had the league title in their sights, and Rangers were chasing a place in Europe.
Clark got his head to the ball, but Durant sweeps it into the air for Clark again. Now Black. That's for John Robertson, a great chance for Hearts. The opening goal. 8th minute of match, and John Robertson makes it 1-0 to Hearts. So a booking for McKinnon, and John Robertson has the chance once again to find the net in the penalty spot. He has a 100% record on the spot this season. So it's Robertson against Walker. midway through the second half. Hearts 2, Rangers 0. Fraser now lofting it forward. There's McCoist in the turn. Freak, it's a penalty kick, yes! Rangers top scorer. He's missed one this season so far. Well taken by McCoist. Rangers are back in the match. The clearance, no, missed by Monroe. Back to Robertson, the chance for Sandy Clark. Will it go for the third? Yes! Sandy Clark makes it 3-1 to Hearts right on the final whistle.
James Sanderson, Hearts Rangers at Tynecastle tomorrow. What do you make of that one?
I make Rangers going to win it. I'm surprised, man, at the injury list, because players now seem to be in intensive care on Friday night at this time, and then they're bouncing about tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So I don't listen to what the managers say about tomorrow, because the casualty list seems horrendous. Don't believe it for a moment, but I do believe Rangers can win this game.
James, on to European matters. The draw made this today for the competitions. Celtic against Kiev. Now, that's a difficult one for the Celts.
Yeah, but it's a great draw for the Celtic fans, because, of course, they'll...
St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. Division 1, Brechin City 1, Airdrie 2. The table looks like this tonight. Dundee United keep on going. 2 own goals for Unlucky Motherwell at Tannadice by John Philibin and Fraser Wishart, plus goals from Ian Ferguson and Tommy Coyne. Davy Cooper scored for Rangers 4 minutes from time, just after Graham Souness had come on for Derek Ferguson and got involved in the move. John Brown, Ray Stephen and Graham Harvey get Dundee's goals at Hamilton.
And we're all pretty confident we won't see a repeat of what happened at Easter Road on the first day of the season.
Well, there must be no repetition of that. Everyone's got to enjoy this game. I'm very upset that a lot of Hibs fans haven't taken up the allocation of tickets. I hope they do so, because I think that what happened in the first day of the season is now past, and I think we'll have a good game tomorrow in Amity. And don't forget, Graham Souness, Davy Cooper, if they're booked, they might not play in the Scone Cup final.
James, we've said it before and we'll say it again. Tomorrow is vital with next Wednesday against Ireland in mind, isn't it?
Well, the most important phone number in Scotland tomorrow is that of Andy Roxburgh. I'm not going to give it out. I hope he doesn't get any calls, but that's when the players have to phone if they're injured.
OK, we'll keep an eye out to see if the squad remains the same. James, thanks.
Of Celtic's Mo Johnston, and the man who got a draw for Rangers at Hearts last week, Davy Cooper.
Clark long is there. There's a shot and brilliantly it's in. He'll get it. 1-0 for Hearts. Coist to Durant to Cooper. Cooper for Rangers. Beautiful performance by Cooper. And it's in, it's a goal, the equaliser. Brilliant run by Cooper.
Well, that goal really is worth a second look. We're forever drooling over Diego Maradona's dribbling skills. But Scotland's Davy Cooper is a match for the world's #1 in this area. We see Davy go past opponents week after week. And there's the finish at the end of it. Well, we've seen a few quality goals already today, but stand by for 2 more. They came during Italy's friendly against Greece in Bologna.
Scored twice as Celtic went top of the Premier Division with a 3-0 win at Dundee. Rangers move into 3rd place, beating Hibernian 3-0, and Aberdeen beat Dundee United. Hearts missed a golden opportunity to challenge for the top. They drew 0-0 with St Mirren.
Thousands of Old Firm supporters have been queuing all day for tickets for the Skol League Cup final at Hampden a week on Sunday. Club and league officials said tonight that the fans' interest in the fixture has been overwhelming. The details from Jim White.
No one in Scottish football can quite remember anything like this ever happening. The bulk of tickets for the Rangers-Celtic Skol League Cup final went on sale at various agencies at 9 o'clock sharp this morning, and in hours the outlets were recording sellouts. Tonight, incredibly, Rangers have sold out their 30,000 allocation. Celtic's tickets have been selling all day too, but a vast section of their allocation won't be on sale until this Saturday at Parkhead. Outlets at first light this morning. At Ibrox Stadium, one fan from Forfar had begun his wait at 2 a.m. He got the tickets he wanted and was on his way back home as thousands more Rangers fans took their places in the queue. In just under 3 hours, the club had sold out the 10,000 tickets on sale at the ground. Tonight, Rangers' entire 30,000 allocation was gone, with thousands more fans heading home disappointed. Rangers Secretary Campbell Ogilvie described the response as incredible. He said quite simply he'd never seen a clamouring for tickets like it. In the city centre, Celtic fans queued at the offices of the Celtic pools, and again business was brisk across the counter. Celtic's allocation should be sold out this Saturday, when tickets for the East Uncovered terracing will be on sale at Parkhead. Meanwhile, at the offices of the Scottish Football League, 7,000 tickets were sold in 3 hours. League Secretary Jim Farry described the scenes as immensely encouraging, as demand had exceeded supply so spectacularly. So, in just half a day, Hampden's 75,000 capacity for the final was assured. The amazing clamouring for League Cup final tickets. Meanwhile, Skol, the sponsors, will shortly announce a package of incentives for the players taking part in the final. Scotland coach Andy Roxburgh has been at the SFA offices all day answering media questions on that goalless European Championship match against the Republic of Ireland in Dublin yesterday. We must now find the ingredient which makes us a winning team, and that, he says, could mean introducing one new face or maybe 4 new faces. Roxburgh claims there were a number of plus points to come out of yesterday. At least, he says, we've played 2 difficult European Championship matches and we haven't lost either. James Sanderson, you can't argue with that.
Oh yes, I can. I think we've been a jumble of jerseys. We've been inept and we've done nothing at all. We've yet to play Belgium, who sunk Luxembourg 6-0. Now, Luxembourg couldn't beat Partick Thistle, so I don't know what we are going to put up against them.
But James, it was obviously dull yesterday, but isn't it better that we draw 0-0 over there than play out our skins and lose 1-0?
No, it's not better at all, because we made no attempt at all to win the game. Mr. Roxburgh's wrong there. Mr. Roxburgh went not to lose, and I flew back with the paying fans, and they're fed up. You should listen to what they say. He's saying today that he'll improve the critics wrong. Absolute rubbish. It's not the critics, it's the paying public he's got to worry about. And we went out there dishevelled and determined to do nothing but hold on and try to get it well. That's really sad.
What's the answer?
Well, the answer is Mr. Roxburgh's got to get it right. I'm not going to join in a chorus of Roxburgh must go, which would be totally wrong. He's got to be given time, but he's got to bring in new men. And to leave Pat Nevin and Kenny Dalglish on the bench at Lansdowne Road is a nonsense. Just like to make the quick point that Lansdowne Road is a football ground, should be towed out into the Atlantic and sunk. There's no doubt at all about that. But we are using that as an excuse, a bad park. Mr. Roxburgh has no excuse. He's got to ask Graham Souness to play. He's got to play Kenny Dalglish. He's got to bring in Pat Nevin. He keeps telling me this man has a magnificent talent. Well, you won't see that in the dressing room or on the bench. And he's got to play someone such as Eric Black.
Away from that, James, isn't it really encouraging, the numbers of Rangers and Celtic fans who are out in numbers today queuing for tickets?
Well, I'm absolutely delighted. This is what the public want. Give them what they want. They will see skillful, entertaining football, and that's what they want. They're not seeing it for Scotland. That's a certainty.
What about the tickets? Again, I believe it's been said today that the SFA are going to be going along but with the same ticket prices for the Luxembourg match. You're against that?
I am indeed. I think that's disgraceful. I think they're kidding the public. I think the prices should be reduced for Luxembourg, and Luxembourg are a poor country who don't beat anyone, and we should be letting the fans in for much reduced prices. Give them a break.
James, thanks.
Lack of goals. Do you know Scotland played against the Republic, as you know, the other night, and it was another, 0-0. Our defence is fine. I'm happy with the defence. Yes. Alan Hansen, Gough played at centre-half. I've always been happy with the defenders, Jim. That is no problem. But, of course, we just can't score a goal.
No, you can't. I mean, the last player to score for Scotland was Billy Still, wasn't it? But, this is a great header off the line.
Big Hansen, who last week I was saying, Scotland should play because, I think he's a smashing player. But I was talking to Maurice Setters, as you know, Big Jack's assistant with the Republic, and he said they wanted to knock high balls into the Scottish defence, and I think it worked because, again, another chance there. Frank Stapleton this time not quite getting over it and knocking it over the top. Now, I can't show you any Scotland chances, Jim, because we never had any.
I don't think there was. In fact, Jim Leighton complained to Andy Roxburgh that even during shooting in, he couldn't get any practice time.
Things are that bad. I mean, the last player to score for Scotland was Frank McAvenny 2 years ago against Australia.
Oh, that's right.
That was the last striker to score.
Yes, to go all the way to Australia to score a goal. Marvellous, isn't it?
It was at Hampden Park. They never scored with it.
You have got problems, there's no doubt about it.
I don't know how we're going to solve it, Jim, other than to say this. I watched the game up in Glasgow live in the afternoon, and I would say that, although the strikers, we always blame them, but we're not creating. I mean, when you play, and when I played football, we had creative players, Baxter, Crern, players that could you know, give you a chance. OK, if you missed them, you got a bit of stick for missing. But the boys today are not getting a service, and therefore, you know, they're not even getting a chance to have a shot at a header at goal. And things are really bad, but it's something we'll have to sort out.
Aye. Big problems for Scotland, I am sorry.
Right, so Scotland's striking problems continue. And it was ironic that one man who might help was making headlines of another kind back home. For David Speedy's rift with Chelsea ended with his transfer request being granted, and that prompted him to talk for the first time.
Apologised to the club's chief executive over an internal report which quoted him as saying that Rangers would always be a Protestant team. On this programme on Wednesday, Chief Executive David Holmes denied making the remark, which is attributed to him in a report of a supporters' meeting. Now the Supporters Association say their report of the meeting was only a summary of what was said, and that Mr Holmes had made it clear in his remarks that if a player was good enough to play for Rangers, that was all that mattered. The association say that they've now apologised to Mr Holmes for any embarrassment they may have caused him. A league tomorrow with Rangers and Celtic meeting for the second time in just 6 days, and Hearts and Hibs battle it out in Edinburgh. Meanwhile, for skiing enthusiasts...
Monday it was Hampden. Tomorrow the Old Firm Roadshow moves to Parkhead, but officialdom will hope for a cleaned-up act. Last weekend, 10 players were booked and 1 was sent off as Rangers lifted the Skol Cup. Tomorrow, good on-the-field behaviour is vitally important. No disrespect to tomorrow's referee, George Smith, but no one particularly wants to see him playing a prominent role in the proceedings. Let the football speak for itself, just as it did when the two sides met last March. The score 4-4, and Mo Johnson and Ali McCoist got on the score sheet that day.
John McStay. Excellent play from the Scotland midfield player. Chance for Johnston, and Celtic are ahead. The Celtic fans delirious. Mo Johnston shows his tremendous value to pick up the snap chance, but that was down to the driving, creative play of Paul McStay in midfield, racing at the Celtic defence, forcing the ball wide. Armstead played it across. Now Murray McLeod with a shooting chance. He didn't connect properly, and Johnston needs no better opportunity. Down to the ball, beating Grant. Here's McCoist. Magnificent goal, Ali McCoist. Scotland's top goal scorer, and a perfect example of how he's achieved that. A solo goal if ever there was one. Ball played up to McCoist. The initial control, the determination to create a shooting opportunity, going wide of the defenders and beating Bonner comprehensively in his right-hand post.
So, league leaders Celtic and third-place Rangers battle it out again tomorrow. Dundee play Aberdeen. The Dons just a point adrift of the Dens Park club. Falkirk meet Clydebank. Fourth top Hearts play crisis-hit Hibs. Motherwell take on Hamilton Accies. Accies still looking for that first Premier League win, and St Mirren meet Dundee United. Hibs boss John Blackley knows the critics are gunning for him. Hibs have only won 3 out of 15 matches, but he says every manager is under pressure and I am no different. And in the First Division, Rangers would win last Sunday, and they did. Who's going to do it tomorrow at Parkhead?
Well, I think Celtic will win tomorrow. I do have to say to you, I don't believe this is the greatest club game in the world. Now, I know that's something not many people will agree with, but you will not convince inhabitants of Rio, Barcelona, Liverpool and Mexico City that it is. I believe it's a perfectly straightforward, excellent Premier Division game.
Do you think, James, that the message has soundly got over to the players that we don't want to see 10 bookings and 1 sending off in an Old Firm match?
Well, certainly over to Mo Johnson, because he's been fined, I understand, and quite heftily. So if he wants to earn the bonus money to make up for that fine, and he's been properly fined, then he'll have to play well tomorrow. I think the message has got home. I think Mr George Smith will ensure that the players are under no illusions tomorrow.
Again, fans, the message goes out to them that they must be in good behaviour, because tomorrow, for the first time, closed-circuit television is going to be on at Parkhead.
Well, I think that's a great thing, but I would say to the closed circuit should have really been on the players last week. The fans behaved impeccably. They were splendid. It's up to the players now to be as good as the fans.
What about the position at Hibs, James? Not an easy one against Hearts tomorrow. John Blackley is distinctly under pressure, isn't he?
Of course he's under pressure. He's well paid. He knows he's under pressure. He's lucky. He's got an excellent chairman in Kenny Walk. He will not stab him in the back. If Kenny Walk thinks the time for parting has come, Kenny Walk will walk to John Blackley, meet him face to face, say they need a change. John Blackley knows that.
Do you think he might be thinking along those lines at the moment, that maybe the time has come for John Blackley?
Oh, I won't sit in the fence. I think John Blackley's on the tightroad. He knows he has to get success and he has to get it quickly. No doubts at all about that. And he is not a man to stay where there is failure. He would walk out with his head high.
Next week, James, Andy Roxburgh announces his pool for the game against Luxembourg. It's vitally important this weekend that players behave well, but that they play well.
Yes, indeed, because so many players are queuing up. I would say to you, of course, I think Luxembourg will be better sticking to staging the European Song Contest and playing Scotland, because if we don't beat them, then really the honeymoon is over for Andy Roxburgh. He's really got to now show his own personality and his own power.
And whether we like it or not, it's still going to cost 12 quid for a nice seat at Hampden for the Luxembourg game, something you think is outrageous.
I think the price is outrageous for the quality of the opposition. I only hope the fans get some quality on our side. It's not before the time.
James, thanks very much. And finally, skiing, and a record attempt is on right now at the Scottish Exhibition and Conference Centre in
goals, and you had to choose 1, 2 and 3 in order, and we asked Andy Roxburgh, the Scottish team manager, or team coach as I think he prefers to be called, to pick out what he considered were 1, 2 and 3. Well, this was his verdict.
Now Gagan. Looks towards that far side. There's a touch, it's a goal. It's the equaliser. Would you believe it? Paul Smith with only 2 minutes remaining. White is still in play, although that was very slow by the fullback again, Wishart. He really has to part with the ball quicker. He had players on the left of him, and now Mo Johnson. There's a brilliant ball. Aiken goes in. Can he make it? He's done it. A brilliant goal. No wonder Johnson wants to embrace him. Coist to Durant, to Cooper. Cooper for Rangers. Beautiful performance by Cooper. And it's in, a goal, the equaliser. Brilliant run by Cooper.
There we are. Goal G was first, goal D was second, goal E was third. Davy Cooper at Tynecastle was a goal number 1, and then was that marvellous goal by Roy Aiken, goal number 2, and then Paul Smith of Motherwell in the same game from Hampden Park, goal number 3. That is the result, 1, 2 and 3. And as I said, we got a marvellous entry, and we had a lot of successful entrants, and we have the postcards from them, and a young gentleman is with me whose name is Christopher Ingalls, I believe, isn't it? Yes. Wonder what team you support, Christopher?
Hibs.
Oh, do you? Oh, you're taking me by surprise. Now, you have a whole list of winners here, Christopher. Now, if you...
Days after the tumultuous Skol Cup final, Celtic and Rangers meet at Parkhead in their second Premier League match of the season. Celtic will be looking to reverse last Sunday's result, while Rangers, 4 points adrift, will be hoping to continue their winning ways. At Tynecastle, Hearts will enjoy another big crowd for the match against Hibs. Hearts fans will recall that their team hasn't lost in the Edinburgh Derby since Alec MacDonald took charge 5 years ago. It was in November 1981 that Alex MacDonald took charge of Hearts. New chairman Wallace Mercer saw him as the man to lead his team to honours, such as those gathered in the late 50s and early 60s, when Hearts won 4 League Cups, 2 league titles and the Scottish Cup. When you were approached to take over the running of the team, what was your initial reaction?
Shock, because there's no way that I ever thought I'd be a manager. I never set my plans to be a manager, so it was a complete shock to me.
What kind of changes did you try to make when you took over the running of the club as such?
Well, I mean, obviously, being at Ibrox for 12 years, you try and get the wee bit of passion back into the game through here when I came. I was a wee bit slack. There was a couple of wee things in the dressing room I changed. Obviously, people's attitude to the game. It takes time to do all these things, you know, and certainly we're getting it right.
3 years after escaping from the First Division, Hearts found the form last year that made them clear favourites for the Premier title.
Robertson with a shot. Oh, what a goal! Oh, a brilliant goal! Nice ball to Berry. He's in a good position. Gully Thompson. Here's a great chance. He scored.
Of course, there were shades of the season when Kilmarnock pipped Hearts 20 years ago, when you were pipped in the last game of the season just last year. Do you think the chance will come again to win the Premier League?
Oh, I think so, yeah. Definitely think so. Obviously, that's everybody's ambition. It's certainly our ambition here. And I don't see why not.
And at 38, Alex McDonald can still play a bit. Last night he scored one of the goals in the reserves' 3-0 win over Hibs reserves. Skiing now, and a week after the first slopes at
Green. But does that mean they're going to amalgamate with Rangers, I wonder? And look, I don't know about you, Sam, but I always thought a centenary was 100 years. And they've gone from 1887 to 1986. Is that how they do things in Scotland?
I think that's a Scottish 100 years. But that will be a cracker again today. And I would think the biggest crowd in the country, Jim.
And are you going to put your shirt on it this time?
I think Celtic might do it today.
Oh, good. Oh, well. Another Rangers win.
Yeah. And of course, it's Derby Day in Scotland, as you know, the Hearts and Hibs play.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's another big one in Edinburgh. But I think Hearts should win that one. Right. Now, from the domestic scene...
This weekend will be in Glasgow. Last Sunday, 74,000 were at Hampden as Rangers beat Celtic in controversial manner to win the Skull Cup. Today, 6 days later, Parkhead stages the Premier Division clash between the great rivals. Archie McPherson sets the scene.
The solemn expression on referee David Syme's face had nothing to do with the Sabbath, but was more in keeping with the extraordinary demands made on everybody walking out to face one of the most volatile crowds in world football. The afternoon didn't just pass, it exploded.
And Cammy Fraser is there, Butcher's there, Durant is there and scores! Durant has scored for Rangers. Well, the very boy we were just talking about there takes his chance, only a half chance, touched by Terry Butcher, went to the outside, and the near side of the goalkeeper. Rangers are in the lead. And now Aiken. Edison, a brilliant equaliser. McClare. Superb strike by McClare. And I think, coming back the way they have come back, the initiative rests, I think, with Celtic. So, free kick to Rangers. Goes for a penalty kick there. It's a given. It's a penalty to Rangers. Butcher was fouled according to the referee. A vital moment in this game. I make it 5.5 minutes remaining of the Skull Cup final. Penalty to Rangers. 2-1. Done with the greatest simplicity.
And the jersey pulling and what appears to be the final push clearly vindicate the referee's decision. In the ensuing exchanges, watch Maurice Johnson approach Rangers number 3, Monroe. He appears to make contact with his head. And from the information passed on about that by the linesman, the previously booked Johnson was sent off. Chaos followed when it seemed clear enough that Syme was sending off Tony Shepherd. He was quite adamant about it. But when it was pointed out to him by players and the linesman that it was a coin thrown from the crowd that had struck him, he reversed his decision. And he can't really be faulted for ensuring the player was not wronged. But in a harvest of raised yellow and red cards, the colour that mattered was the silver in the hands of an English captain for the first time ever. A few days later, in keeping with refereeing controversies, Billy Abercrombie, St Mirren's captain, for being sent off and continually protesting, was actually shown the red card 3 times, giving him the prospect of an unprecedented 12-game ban.
Now, Trevor, I think that the sendings off and the bookings are the most interesting things that are coming out at the moment. I think perhaps, I mean, that's been confirmed that that lad's got this 12-match ban. I think that it's time perhaps we should think of a sin bin within the game.
in the European Championship, a match which they must win well, and they should do just that. Well, the overnight news is good for national coach Andy Roxburgh. There have been just 2 call-offs, and that's just half the number he faced before the first 2 ties in the group, those goalless draws against Bulgaria and the Republic of Ireland. Out injured are the Rangers youngsters. Derek Ferguson, Player of the Month, won't be at Hampden Park, and his midfield partner at Ibrox, Ian Durant, won't make it either. But all the rest are fit, and so the decks are clear for Roxburgh to chalk up his first win in his new job. Well, Luxembourg have already played in this section, and time to the Scotland goalscorer found the back of the net at Hampden Park. That was when Frank McAvenny scored against Australia to start Scotland on their way to the World Cup. And ever since then, we've been waiting for somebody to do a bit